Hello. I'd like to start streaming, and to do that, I need to be able to do a couple of things: control volume, play songs and sound effects, stream from the command line, basic stuff. So I did what I always do, which is to program a bunch of tools, i.e., shell scripts, to help facilitate those tasks. Like I can type song and play songs, play song loop, plays each song in an infinite loop. And the vol or VOL utility has a bunch of options to increment or decrement volume, mute, etc. Like here's a mute and then unmute. And then I can decrement on a basic magnitude. So that's 10%. And that's close to 100%. Not really. And then you could set it back to the max volume. But there are also times when I don't want to manage things like volume control or playing songs. It'd be a lot easier if I had someone like my wife who could handle those things while I'm speaking or programming on stream. But let's be clear, my wife isn't a technical person. And asking a non-technical person to memorize a list of commands is, well, it's asking a lot. Ideally, I'd like a console application that handles all of the above tasks, something that can be run when SSHing into my server, like from an old ThinkPad X200, something like a curses application. So that's when my thought went to a package called cmixer. It's available on openbsd. Package add cmixer. And type cmixer. But it doesn't really fit all of my requirements. Like it increments and decrements volume by 10%. And I'd like finer grain control than that. It also doesn't play music. I mean, I suppose that's by design. The Unix philosophy, each program does one thing well, blah, blah, blah. But sometimes it's also a lot easier to have a single, simple program that does a lot of different things rather than run a bunch of different programs, at least for a layperson. Anywho, cmixer doesn't do all of those things. But then I remembered that cmixer is just a simple Perl script. It's basically a thin wrapper around sndio, and that is just a utility to control audio devices, things like volume and stuff like that. So I could probably hack something together. Couple caveats. I haven't actually worked with Perl since I was in high school. So in that sense, it's pretty nostalgic because I'd take whatever Perl scripts from the internet I could and hack at them until I had something that worked for me. And that's what I'll be doing right now. I'm going to be hacking this utility, cmixer, to do what I want. I'm not going to be creating something new, only modifying some parts, adding other parts without necessarily knowing or understanding how to write Perl. So exactly like it was in the old days, at least for me. Should be fun. Here are my basic requirements. Let me see. Let's go to workspace and create a directory. Let's say notes.md. So my basic requirements: smaller increments for volume, and then tab key changes pages, because you have to use page up or page down, or control N or control P. And I think tab makes more sense in that sense. We can check that out here. So tab just scrolls through the different inputs. And if I do control N, I can scroll through that. If I can do control P, it goes back, or page up or page down. It's not really, I don't think it's that intuitive. So I think tab makes more sense as a page changer. So I'm going to be changing that. And then new page with songs where I can play songs. Okay, those are my basic requirements. So let's get started. We can copy the cmixer script over here. Let's actually move it to mixer. And then let's go ahead and also delete cmixer. And let's also delete any dependencies it had. And let's add the Perl curses UI dependency back because I do need that. p5-curses-ui. Okay, so adding smaller increments. Let's see, vim mixer. So this is probably the easiest part. So we just need to find, so there's a function called create view right here. If we scroll down a little bit, we can see some key bindings where the, is it up here? Yeah, it's right here. So update volume. Let's see. It says update volume by 0.1 or 10% with these following keys. So let's just copy these two lines and paste them and do something like, let's say 0.02 with the key. Let's get rid of this array. Let's use the minus sign, or no, sorry, the equal sign. And the reason I'm doing minus and equals is because they're right next to each other on most keyboards, and the equal sign is usually where the plus sign is. So I don't want to do shift equal sign. I just want to do equal sign, but you know where it is. Anyway, and then let's do this as minus and change this to negative 0.2. Okay, let's try that out. So if I do minus, it does it at a smaller increment than before. I can't do 0.01 because I think sound IOCTL only takes like a certain degree of precision. And this is pretty much what I found to be the limit of that. But this is acceptable. And then if I need like bigger increments, then I can just use the normal 10%. That one's still there. Okay. Now, changing pages with the tab key is a little bit more obscure. So we need to go to the actual Perl library to know what to do. So if we go to user local libdata, Perl 5, site Perl, and then curses UI. This is where you can find the actual library and sometimes a little bit of documentation. I think this is what we want, the notebook utility. So here we can see that there are some default bindings here. Okay. So key home goes to the first page, key end goes to the last page, page up or page down, those go to the next page or previous page respectively, or control N and control P. That does the same thing. I think that's a little bit, I don't know, a little obscure. So I'm going to be rewriting that, but this is what we need to keep in mind. These bindings here with these routines, go to next page and go to previous page. All right, let's quit out of that. Let's go back to our page. First, we need to remove the binding. Is it over here? Let me see. We have to remove this binding here for the CUI tab. So let's delete that. And now we need to go back up a little bit to where we're creating the notebook. See here, right here. No, wait, sorry. This is adding a page to the notebook. We need to go where we're actually creating the notebook right here. And then we can set bindings. And then we can say CUI tab, open parentheses, close parentheses. And that says go to next page. Now we can't actually say shift tab, go to previous page. But what can you do? So if we want to go to the previous page, we'll add an N. That one goes to the next page as well. And then P will go to the previous page. And this overwrites the original default bindings. So Control N, Control P, those won't work. Page up, page down, those won't work, so on and so forth. And let's try it. So I'm pressing tab. Okay, that didn't do anything. Oops. Maybe I did I save? Oh, maybe I didn't save. So let's try mixer again. Still not working. Did I do this correctly? Oh, right. Bindings. Whoops. That's embarrassing. Tab. Okay, that works. Let's actually change this volume back to 100%. So tab works, and then next or N, and then P for previous, those all work. And there you go. Now, adding a new songs page, that's going to be a little bit more involved. But let's start by seeing exactly how this program works. So if we scroll down to the bottom, we can see that it's reading sound IOCTL, and then it's creating the view, and then it's updating the view, and then it sets a timer to read sound IOCTL and update view, and then it executes the main loop. So we're going to have to update this thing a lot. So it makes sense to me to create an update function, or I guess sub. Does this mean subroutine? I don't know. Update, and then we say my self equals shift, because that's what every one of these functions seems to be doing. And then we can call those functions. Sound IOCTL, and then update view. And then we just call that here. Okay, and then I think what we should first do is here, let's implement something to read the list of songs. And I actually have a handy utility for that. You saw the song utility, but I also have a command here that typing it out, song ls, will list out all the songs that I have. So let's do that. So another function, sub read songs. Let's copy this. And then for each, let's just set up a for each loop. And then backtick home Joseph bin song ls. And then another backtick. Okay. And then we'll say self. Let's actually go to see what our read snd ioctl is doing. So for each of these, it's doing a regular expression matching, and then adding it to this, I guess, hash or dictionary. I don't know. So we'll do something similar. So songs, and then $_ is what is being iterated over. So we can do this, something like this. And basically, I think this is saying that inside self, there's a songs hash. And then inside each of these keys, I'll have, let's see, song1 equals to song1, and then something like that. All right, so that's basically that. And then we add that here. And then we also add this to our update function. Now we can't replace this update function and call that in lieu of all this stuff, because we need to actually create the view. And the view assumes that there's a dictionary with all this stuff that's been passed into it. So we have to call it separately. And let's do that right now. Rather than updating create view, which has a lot going on, let's go check that out. This has a lot going on. I don't really want to like update this and mess with this if I can't. So rather than do that, I'll copy it and implement a create song view function. Let's see. Let's just do song. Let's just namespace it. And let's just do song view. Okay. And I'm going to comment all this stuff out. Let's see. Okay, cool. And then I'll reuse code as I need to. So we need to create a page. So I don't need to create a new Curses UI. I don't need to create a new window. I don't need to know the height. I don't need to create a new notebook. And then here we go. Create a container for this dir list. So this is basically adding a page to that notebook. So that's what we need to do. Let's copy that here and then delete the comment and the tab. Okay, so in this window, what the original code was doing is creating a page for this directory. We don't need that. So let us just do, say, songs page is equal to self window notebook add page for songs. And then on activate, we call a function called lose focus. Here we will namespace this songs lose focus. And we don't care about directory. And let's go see what that is. Loose focus. Copy that. And then paste it here. Songs loose focus. And then delete that. We don't need this stuff yet. So I will comment this out. And then, so songs loose focus is basically saying for the directory checkbox current. Oh, I see. So if we go here, mixer, we can see when I press J or down arrow key, it's basically selecting different checkboxes depending on what's passed into loose focus. I think that's correct. So let's see this binding here. So this binding here for key down or J, loose focus for that directory, add one or subtract one. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. Well, we don't need that now, but we do want this page. Let's see if that did anything. I wrote to that. It didn't do anything. Okay, so so self songs.page, add page. Oh, right. I need to actually create song view. Okay. Let's see what happens. Okay, we have a new page. It's empty, but we have a new page for our songs. And then, so what we also need to do is for each song that was read in this function and passed into this sort of key value store, we need to create some elements. So I guess we'll use this. So for my song, sort key self songs. And then, okay, we will need this, but we're going to pass that over here. Okay, and then we need to create a, I guess, well, we don't need this anymore. Yeah, we need to create a label and a checkbox. So let's copy this and paste it in here. Okay, for the window, let's just say song.label. And then for the window and the songs.page, we add a label. That's for song.label, which is a label. And then we use the y coordinate of y, which is 0, and then loops through. Oh, we also need to increment that y. Here we go. And then text of the song. And then for the checkbox, pretty much the same thing. Song.mute, self let's not say mute. Let's say play, because it doesn't really make sense to say mute. And then songs dot page add song play checkbox at this y coordinate, and then let's change this to 20. Okay. Let's try that out. Okay, look at that. We have all of our different songs and we have a checkbox. We don't have any selecting of our checkbox, but we'll get to that. Okay, let's see. And then we need to add our bindings. I don't care about updating volume for this one. We could copy this lose focus, this one, this toggle. And this one, I don't need progress bar. So I guess I'll just copy all this stuff, paste it all here. Okay. And I think we're pretty much done with this here. All right, let's center this a little bit. So we clear the binding for loose focus and toggle. And then we set a binding to, oh, what did we call that? Songs loose focus. Okay. So we say songs loose focus. And then we don't care about the directory. So J and key down, that makes sense to me. But, oh, sorry, we need to update these. Song play. Actually, let me just do song.play. Okay. So we've got our bindings here. And then we've also got we need a binding to actually play the song, but we won't worry about that yet. And then I think we need to set this checkbox list. Let's say window. This is going to be songs.checkbox list. And then we push the element of song.play. And then we need a current checkbox. And well, I guess we'll just say songs. So the current one is the 0 indexed checkbox. So the first song. And then we need to update this songs loose focus. So this will be songs.checkbox current, songs.checkbox current, plus equals this offset. And then right here, we get from this array, I guess. Then we have to replace directory for songs.checkbox list. And then this can be songs.checkbox list, songs.checkbox current, focus. All right, let's see what that does. Oh, hey, yeah, that works. So I'm pressing J and K, and this allows me to select different songs, or their checkboxes at least. Now I need to do this binding, which is basically our play button. So what I'm thinking is the space bar will be used to play each song. So let's rename this to toggle play, and then we'll pass in the song that we want to play. And then we need to create a function to do that. And we'll copy this. Actually, we can't copy it directly. We need to destructure the song out of the arguments. Is that how you do it? Oh, no, let's copy this. Okay, there we go. And the song. And we had let's see. Okay, so we have our checkbox current. Let's also set a current playing song, and that'll be an empty string. And then we can use that here. So let's say my current song equals self songs.current playing. I can then on that window, this is a checkbox, and then we can toggle the checkbox. So if it's checked, it'll be unchecked, and so on and so forth. And then we can check whether it's checked by doing get. Again, you can look at the libraries for curses, UI. Let's see. Let's say user local lib data, Perl 5 site Perl, curses UI, and then there's a checkbox. And then, you can see a bunch of different stuff. Anyway. Okay, so we know that it's checked. And let's say if the current song is not equal to an empty string, then that means something's playing. We need to kill that song. And then we need to uncheck the song's checkbox. And then let's also set the current playing to empty. So we can already do all this. We'll handle this later, but let's say self window current song dot play uncheck. So we've got that done, and then let's see, self songs dot current playing equals empty string, and let's say to do. And then if the checkbox that we just checked is checked, or if it's unchecked, I guess, let's say self songs dot current playing is equal to this song. And then we need to play the song. Okay, let's see. We can do that by... So we don't want to block this process. So we need to introduce an asynchronous background process into this. And for that, we need a new library here. So use proc background. And we also need to install that. P5 proc background. Okay, that's done. And then we can go back down here. Okay, let's see. So let's say self songs dot current playing. Whoops. Let's have another one saying dot proc. And then we can set this to an empty string over here in this function. And then let's say proc background new. We want to auto terminate. And again, you can look at these options for yourself. And then the command will be home Joseph bin play song loop for this song. Okay. And then we want to be able to kill that song. So let's create a kill song function. Let's say, okay. So if self songs.current playing.proc is equal to an empty string, we just return from this function. We don't do anything. Otherwise, we grab the process ID of that proc. And then we call system pkill of the parent p. So any child of this process ID that matches AU cat, which is what I'm using to play the song. And then we also kill that process ID. And then let's sleep for like 0.3 seconds, just to give the OS time to kill those processes. And then we do, self, let's see, songs.current playing.proc is now equal to an empty string. Okay, and then here we can call that. Cool. Let's delete these to-dos. Something we also want to do is when we quit this program, we don't want this background process to continue running. We want to quit that as well. So let's see. When we're binding, here we go. When we're binding the CUI and press Q, it calls exit. So instead, we want to call a function of our choosing. So we'll say self quit program. And then back down here, we can say, let's say sub quit program. And then self kill song, and then exit. All right, let's see what happens. I did a lot of programming. Something might not work, so we'll just take it a step at a time. Tab. Let's play this song. Okay, I hear stuff. And then I press space again, and then I stop that. Let's play this song. Okay, and let's try to play a different song. Okay. That seems like it's basically working. Let me press quit. Okay, that killed the process as well. I don't think there's much else I could do. I mean, I guess I could like create my version of update view. I'm not really sure what that will do, but we could try it, I guess. Songs update view. Let's see. Let's go to update view and just copy all of that. Okay. And then we can go down here. Yeah. Okay. Let's go place it maybe here. Songs update view. And then in the update function, we call songs update view. Okay. So what is it doing here? So it's doing 2 for each loops. I think for each checkbox, it's calling this periodically through the timer. And then for each checkbox, it's basically making sure that it remains checked or unchecked. I guess. I don't know. So I guess we could try it. So we know the current song playing. And then we can say for each my song, keys in songs. And then we can just do this. Okay, I don't need any of this other stuff. So we can say if current song equals a empty string. So we'll do self window song.play uncheck. And then do the next iteration because we're going to have a different if conditional song equals the current song. let's see, self. Actually, let's just use this. If it's the current song, then it's check. Else, uncheck. Okay. Let's see if that did anything. All right. Maybe. Anyway, let's just look at this and see what we did in this session. We can see the tab key changes the page. The minus key decrements and increments, or I guess the plus key increments in a lower tick than basically just pressing right. That's 10%. This is a little bit smaller than that. And then for the songs page, it actually plays songs. Pretty nifty. And we didn't really need all that much programming knowledge either. Just a base program to hack at until we contorted it and shaped it to our will. If you have any questions from me, be sure to check out my website, josephchoe.com, or catch me on Twitter, GitHub, and so on and so forth. Take care of yourself, and don't die out there. Bye now.